That's right. What did he just say? He said, no, he didn't cough. He said, let's roll. Excuse me. That's not on my part.
That sounds like Panthers stumbling from the 5 to the 7 seed.
That was not done on purpose, but I accept that opening. All right.
Oh, man.
It's playoff time, baby. The fun is finally here. The NFC, we've had our 7 for the last couple of weeks. We know what order they're in. With, apologies to the Raiders, we know now what the AFC is set up with, and God, we're going to break it down. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. We had Broncos here with me. I was getting a little nervous. I was worried I was going to have to go solo again, but thank God Bill is here to help to fill the space and to provide the commentary to my idiocy. Nonetheless, first round next week, there are 2 teams to buys. Congratulations to the Broncos for the AFC and the Giants for the NFC. As the 1 seeds, they don't have to play next week. So congratulations to you guys. In the NFC, the 2 seed Buccaneers play the 7 seed Panthers. The 3 seed Vikings play the 6 seed Cowboys, and the 4 seed Rams play the 5th seed Packers. On the AFC side, we have the 2 seed Bengals playing the 7 seed Chiefs. We have the 3 seed Colts playing the 6 seed Ravens, and the 4 seed Bills playing the 5 seed Browns. So the season-long goal of having all 4 AFC North teams making it didn't quite happen, but it was pretty darn close. The continuous assertions from Bill that the Chiefs weren't shit and they were only a 7 seed or barely a fringe playoff team seemed to have come true. And my losing streak somehow only dropped me to 3. So it's good times for everybody.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, it's good times unless you're the Steelers or the Raiders. But yeah, this has been a really great last couple weeks.
It's true. It's one of those where you almost wish there was a way for a team to be able to trade franchises, but that's probably a step too far for where we have our league set up. But we'll go matchup by matchup, and we'll talk about kind of where we see each of the matchups going and some potential swing options there. So let's start where we all wish we could start. Chris and Goose. What kind of podcast would we be if we didn't talk about Chris and Goose the entire time?
I know. They're such divas.
So apparently, and I don't know how this happened, but apparently Jake Browning doesn't suck at quarterback.
Yeah, it seems, at least for 1 week, it seems that way.
Like, again, what was he, 10 for 10 or 7 for 7, 9 for 9, whatever it was for passes over 10 yards? And
he ended like 32 for 37. It was crazy.
Like, that's the holy shit stat about this team. Like, if he actually gets functioning quarterback play for the rest of his team, like never mind. The 49ers sent DeAndre Swift into the stratosphere last week. But with the depth he has at receiver and with the way Hawkinson can put up points at tight end, and then what he's done with his defense, he is pretty well set. And anything from the running back or quarterback position is going to be a bit of a bonus. So that's to be said for him. But at the same time, like Hollywood Brown, Justin Jefferson, Juwan Jennings, Jaden Reed, like Jalen Waddle, all of them put up points last week. And you got to wonder, it's like, okay, if it's going to take a good, strong bit of bad luck to see Bengals drop below 200 points in any kind of playoff week.
Yeah. I mean, at least without buys. But there are no more.
It's true. And then the other side of that is from a Chiefs perspective. I guess who are his quarterbacks? What
Derek
does his
Carr.
team look like right now?
It's Derek Carr.
Oh, shit.
His
So
roster:
Derek
Derek
Carr.
Carr, Ramondre Stevenson, both died last week. Dalton Schultz is maybe going to play with a concussion issue. Yeah, and then his team is just generally underperforming.
Wow.
Yeah. The nice side for him is his only bye week is Victor Demikeji at linebacker, so he doesn't lose a lot of risk there compared to Chris having to play without Hollywood Brown, and that's it also. But I feel like Hollywood's a bigger hit than Victor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of looking through to see if there's another way through this, and for the most part, no. I mean, he's going to need someone to break out in a big way if he's going to compete with this. But nonetheless, he's just not going to be there. So, I mean, it's a scary team to play because playing goose teams with literally the ability of points coming from every position is not a fun thing to do. I can tell you that from in-person experience. But like, yeah, if I've got to pick this team against the Bengals, like, I can't pick this team.
No, I want to pick Chiefs so badly because I don't want to play the Ravens, but there's no chance. I don't see a chance here.
Not really. But let's talk about the Ravens. So
Cool.
They are the 6th seed. I'm taking a look through. I mean,
the Colts is not beating him. Like if
no.
you're looking for hope, there is no hope there.
This is not the right place to look for hope.
This is not the droid you're looking for to help you at all.
Not even a little bit. Again, I was looking to try and formulate something here, but I would have been completely full of shit. And I love you all too much to do that to you, but at the same time, oof.
No, this is going to be one of those weeks that Tua and Tyreek go off again for insane numbers. They're playing the Titans.
We say that, but I can't wait for us to be wrong.
If Colts pulls off this miracle somehow, I will be so surprised.
He will be the team of destiny, and we all be very, very scared. But no, I mean, this is exactly the type of win that a team gets in the playoffs. Like, he's got Tua, Pacheco, and Gainwell, very good receivers. You know, 2 options at the tight end, a good, strong defense. Like, he's going to score 240, 250 points. It's going to take somebody literally beating that for him to actually score and move on. So
he was the guy who got hit with the worst luck throughout the whole season, because he played the North, right? And we were talking about how I can't believe the Ravens is going to miss the playoffs, and they're like second in scoring in the whole league. And then, schedule wise, it works out for him. But there was a comment made last week about how there's no healthy teams really going into the playoffs, and he might have the only one. Like, there's not really holes on his roster. It's more of what week do his players suck, or what week do they have buys. And he doesn't have any more bye weeks other than Tony Jones, and that's not going to be a huge factor. And then it's just a matter of injury luck. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. He's so ready to go.
And I will say this. There is a non-zero chance he figures it out. Again, I mean, Baker has been insane Baker this year.
Yeah.
And who knows, Hall might actually be the starter for the Vikings here.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, you're going with Baker at that point.
Yeah, Johnson is the starter, assumes, in Chicago.
Yeah.
Mingo
Mingo became the one last week in Carolina, and Pickens is going to have Trubisky throwing him the ball. So not much better.
There is more than a path here. It is an excruciating and painful path, but there is a clear path for this to be a problem. And
Sure. I mean, he could definitely do it. Like he didn't go so far past all of our expectations this year for no reason, but I don't know. Like this is going to take Ravens roster just totally shit in the bed this week.
Yeah, it's one of those words at the same time. It's like, oh yeah, you could absolutely see that happening. Like, oh yeah, it wasn't a great week for my team, but I had George Pickens go for 326 and 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns or something like that. I'm like, wait, what just happened? Like, oh yeah, that's a completely believable stat line for that person, and it ends up being 250, not 250, but 25 points for them, and it's completely out of nowhere. So.
Yeah, and the Lions are over now, so Roschon could have a day. Pierre Strong is doing well in Cleveland whenever he gets on the field. But yeah, it's anything is possible here. Like, he's like got 1% chance as it sits right now.
Yeah, it's going to take something for him to make it through, but I'm not saying there's no chance.
Right.
And then Bills and Browns, like.
So the Bills got here.
This isn't going to be close. I'm sorry. I want to be a nicer person about this, but I can't. Like, I'm sorry. Go ahead and put the Browns in for the second round, and they're either playing, they're playing a division winner in the second round. That's all there is to it.
I'm trying to look at this here from the Bills' perspective because he is also kind of surprised in some of his scores. Yeah. He doesn't have enough to go up. Like, even without CeeDee Lamb on the Browns, he doesn't have enough to compete against this. Yeah. So... yeah, Browns moves on and plays whoever the low seed is in the division winners that's left.
Yeah. So based off of that, we're saying that next week you're going to have Bengals, you're going to have Ravens, you're going to have Browns, and you're going to have you.
Yeah.
So that means you would have the Ravens.
Yep.
And it would be Bengals versus Browns.
Ravens.
Oh, man.
Yep.
I'm glad I'm in the AFC. I'm not thrilled about that of what I've got in the NFC, but I'm glad I'm not in the AFC. Speaking of the AFC, we've got the Giants, and they're still we'll see how that falls out in terms of the final finishes of the Giants, but not looking like he's going to have the undefeated season, which is nice.
He gets the win off of stat corrections.
It's not the first time it's happened, but we'll see. Bucks playing Panthers. Again, Panthers bragging for the better part of the last that he was going to be the 5 seed, and now he's the 7th seed. There's a little bit of schadenfreude I have. I can't help myself. I'm sorry. But that being said, he's not a team I want to play.
Panthers?
Yeah.
Why?
So, again, going top to bottom, he's got Goff.
Okay.
Walker is hurt. If he was back to any kind of percentage, that becomes a lot more scary. Keenan Allen has been one of the better performing receivers in the NFL. Then McBride has been fantastic, and the defense has been there. So I'm not saying that the Panthers are a scary team to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that they've got the pieces to make playing them very difficult, especially when it comes to the playoffs.
Sure.
Like, there's probably 5 or 6 players on the Panthers. if somebody told you, oh yeah, they put up 40 this week, you wouldn't really shrug your shoulders or question it. Like, oh yeah, of course they did. Like, oh yeah, Keenan Allen put up 40 this week. Of course it did. Pain in the ass. Like, he's got players like that all over his team, and that's what makes him scary in the playoffs.
He is taking a hit. He does not have McBride this week.
That's right, because of buys and everything.
Yep.
And again, with Walker hurt also, we'll see. But not the easiest thing for him. I have the Cowboys this week. I actually seem to have most, if not all, of my players off of buys and off of injury. So we'll see if I can actually put up a real fight, since I don't think I've scored much above 210 points, if at all, the last 3 weeks. But yeah, hopefully, again, my goal was to get healthy for the playoffs, and hopefully my team did that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have Connor, but you have enough depth at running back to where that should be fine. And I mean, and he's not going to have Trevor Lawrence, so I think that off of that alone, I mean, unless Dobbs and Mullins don't get the job in Minnesota, which would wash out the quarterback position, which would be very, very interesting for this round. Yeah, I think if you get a quarterback, you win, but it could be fun and somewhat unexpectedly close if you both don't have QBs.
Again, and I feel bad. I feel for Cowboys. Like, he's built it the right way, and all of a sudden, literally as he was about to go into playoffs, the last game of the last week before the playoff, he loses his quarterback, which just sucks. So, I am sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he should have had his backup. I don't know what he was thinking, not carrying the backup.
Again, sometimes you can't get that player. Like,
he's a free agent right now.
Yes, I said sometimes you can't get that player. Like, Colts, for example, was not going to trade me Jared Hall for anything.
No, he's not. But I guarantee Cowboys spends $14 million on CJ Beathard. I bet he uses all his cap space to go get that quarterback.
Well,
again, like I said, it would be nice if there's a way for somebody to go make a trade, like, at that time, like, okay, a real playoff team is not going to be caught without a quarterback. You should be preparing yourself, but is there a way to go address the problem if it happens and it's completely unexpected? And that kind of happened this year. So, I'm not saying it has to, but it's an interesting idea. And then the real NFC North champion, the Packers, who beat the shit out of me by 100 points last week, gets the Rams. So Jeremy's moving on. I'm going to say it. Jeremy's moving on. The Giants moving on. I hope I'm moving on, and the Bucs are moving on. Next week's going to suck.
Okay, so that would be Packers, Giants, Buccaneers,
Vikings,
and Vikings. That's crazy. That's just as difficult as the AFC.
It's just going to be pain. That's all there is to it.
It's also like the top four, I think we all suspected, like, since the offseason.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of they've been the top teams in the NFC the entire year, so that's likely the answer, and we'll see how it all falls out. But that seems to be the direction we're going.
Yeah, but chalk is no fun.
Chalk is no fun.
Somebody's got to upset somebody. I mean,
so let's explore that. What would be the most fun non-chalk play of the AFC?
I mean, Colts beating Ravens would be the most fun.
Okay, you're saying that because you're in the AFC and you just don't want to play the fucking Ravens.
So Colts versus Ravens would be the biggest upset. Bills beating the Browns would be absolutely crazy. But Chiefs beating Bengals is not going to be surprising if it happens. Like, they are – that seems to be a coin toss game at the moment.
How is Chiefs going to beat Bengals?
You never know. You just never know.
because Goose has that level of depth, and it just happens to be that day that the third string D end for the Dolphins ends up with 4 sacks.
Yeah. And it's not – and, like, we're talking about, like, surprises, right? Like, Chiefs beating Bengals is not going to be a surprise. It's just not expected. You know, Colts or Bills beating Ravens or Browns, that's surprising.
Yeah.
So, it would be the Colts for the AFC. For the NFC, I mean, if the Rams won.
If I lost to my bye week, biggest surprise.
No, nobody cares about you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, Rams is the biggest. Rams would be the biggest upset. Panthers beating Bucks would probably.
I mean, you've had Panthers basically positioning to be the 5 seed because they get to play the Rams, and I mean, we all were like of the division winners, like with the exception of the shit that my team's been taking in the last couple of weeks. Like, that's been the least scary of the teams. So.
Yeah. But
everyone's kind of positioning for it. It'd be kind of fun to see him walk into the postseason for the first week, be like, "Oh, yeah, you guys wanted to play me? Oh, here's 280 points. Eat it."
Right. Right. But everybody's been trying to avoid the Bucks in the playoffs, right? So I guess that would make Panthers the ultimate upset here. Like, that would be the surprise.
Who has the linebacker, the pass rusher from the Vikings? What's his name?
Smith, Zadarius Smith.
Zadarius Smith. Who has him now?
Isn't that a Browns player?
I want to say the Browns has him.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Browns has him.
Well,
but he hasn't.
Congratulations, Browns, on your 2023/2024 Super Bowl championship. Because if you have Zadarius Smith, that's all that matters.
Uh-oh.
You gotta make it to the Super Bowl first.
Doesn't matter. I'll figure it out. Fucking.
I guess he's playing on a Monday night game.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun week. I'm glad I'm not part of it.
There's also 2 Monday night games this week.
No shit.
So it's really coming down to like Monday night. For a lot of folks, it'll be interesting.
Let's see.
I mean, the thing I want, and I think we're starting to transition into this part of the year, so we'll use this as the first opportunity to kind of get off on that foot. Is it would be fun to have the rest of the league be able to trade right now, and I say that full well and knowing that I can't trade. Cool, I'm okay with it. I'm happy about it. This is the only time you will ever hear me say I am happy about the ability that I can't trade. Like, it would be fun to see the rest of the league kind of get into it and get things kicked off, and have those of us who are in the competition in one of those fun positions of, God, everyone else is trading. This sucks. I wish I wasn't winning. Like, again, that's always a fun thing, a fun dichotomy to put in a league. So I wish that was something we were dealing with here, but I understand that we haven't gotten there yet. But nonetheless, we are accepting ideas, suggestions, comments on how this league could be even better. So that's one that has come up to me in terms of things that we can do to make this league a little bit better. Who else has some suggestions they've been thinking about working on otherwise in terms of improvements for the league?
Oh, I got one. A missed field goal should be negative points.
Nobody cares, Sean. Nobody cares. Oh, wait, you're serious. Never mind. No,
it's just like every standard fantasy league, like ESPN, Yahoo, like a missed field goal is negative points. I just seems like a weird omission. That's all I want to say.
It's so to be fair, the way it's being scored here is consistent with the way that most, if not all, of my leagues do it as well. If it's under 40 yards, it should be negative. If it's over 40 yards, because of the distance and degree of difficulty, often it's not a negative score. So I'm okay with it from that perspective. Now, I don't know the yardage off the field goal off the top of my head, but if it was over 40 yards, I'm okay with it being a just 0 instead of a negative.
I think it was literally a 40-yard field goal that he missed, for what it's worth. But
Yeah.
or at least it might have been under 40, and the one he made was 40. I don't know. Anyways, regardless, there is no penalty for a missed field goal of any distance. Seems odd.
Yeah, I mean that's something to be thinking about.
I'm not saying the
Whoa,
C
wait.
word, but
Whoa! Really? You go sit in the corner and think about what you've done. You do that again, I'm kicking you off the stream.
I see
All right, Bill, you have some ideas here.
So I think that so I have two. So waivers should close on Thursday, but they should reopen on Friday morning through Sunday game or through Sunday kickoff. The idea that having to be the whole weekend without being able to waiver claim anybody or first come first serve, that sucks. Not a huge deal, just something I would like to see change. I don't care either way, just something I would like to see. The other one would be allow trade extensions after the Super Bowl pre-rollover. If you have trade extensions left after the trade deadline in season, you should be able to utilize them after the Super Bowl before rollover.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion, kind of along those lines, that I would like to see a way to convert in-season signings to long-term signings that don't involve trade extensions. That's
the other thing. Franchise tags or any tags that you get your own player back, you should have the ability to extend them somehow. Whether it's a dice roll and you you roll a 5, so you have to pay them a 5% increase on the tag number to extend them, or a 6 or whatever, right? You go anywhere from 1% to 6%. It's a dice roll.
Yeah, 20-side dice roll.
Yeah, something like that.
20-side dice, damn.
Yeah, but just make it something where if you want to extend them, that's fine. You just pay a little bit more, because in the NFL, plenty of players still get long-term deals after they're tagged.
Yeah. And from the teams that put them there in the first place. So, again, that's something I would like to see improved, is a way that we can maintain control of players. But that also being said, free agency is tough for our league. So trying to make it more restrictive, I could see being a challenge that a lot of people don't want to take on right now. Because
the other thing with the current ruling is that it kind of fosters trading, right? Like if I have lost out on a way of keeping this player, then I'm going to trade him to someone who has a trade extension who can keep him. And so you'd also be reducing some potential trade volume by making that kind of change.
That's true. I mean, in some players it doesn't happen with. We've talked about the Josh Allen contract more than once. That, hey, because that time Texans didn't want to trade the player because they wanted to go for it. He was a $40 million Josh Allen instead of a $20 million Josh Allen.
Right.
These things happen. So sometimes you get what you end up with, but at the same time, you want to insert flexibility for people to build their teams how they want to build their teams.
Yeah. One change that I'd really like to see is a much more aggressive holdout policy. Because if we're supposed to be kind of mimicking real life, right? If a player's getting on a second contract, getting paid under market value, massively, look at Jalen Hurts, right? He wouldn't be playing on this $1 million deal in real life.
Okay.
And I don't know, whatever, it's 25% chance or whatever. I just feel it should be way more aggressive. Even I don't know, at least 50% for any player that's performed as a top 10 at position, who's under market rate, not on a rookie contract, something much more as a way of balancing some of those egregiously valuable contracts. I have a couple of them on my team, and it's a clear advantage, point per dollar standpoint.
I think there's something to be said for making it not optional. Like there is no guess, and maybe it happens. It's just if you perform in the top 5 for like 2 years in a row or whatever at your position, then you're an automatic holdout, and you get like a 50%. You get the average of the top 10 salaries or something like that. Like it's automatic. It just happens.
I like the idea, and I feel like I came up in a previous review of this. Of it depends on the quality of team you are. If that there's almost a second role, that you have a first role and then a second roll where it's like, maybe a first roll is a 10-sided dice and the second roll is a 20-sided dice. And it's the, if the second roll is higher than your first roll, then, you have to have that level of increase or something like that. But something to the effect of like, okay, I finished and I'm the number 3 pick this year. That's impacting the salaries I have to pay my guys versus if I was, runner up for the AFC.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, or like another way to do it would be to like cascade. So if you're in year 2, now you're eligible for this holdout. You don't end up pulling out this year. You again perform similarly next year. Instead of a 50% chance, now it's like a 75% chance you hold out. There's like kind of another way of like scaling that to try and bring some fairness to it.
Yeah, that's true. But here we are.
I think that is like one of like the potentially like league altering kind of changes is bringing some I don't know, like normality to some of those really valuable contracts.
Or again, that was the entire point of the Pro Bowl in the first place, is to find ways to make it so that those valuable contracts don't become league breaking for 10 years. Okay, if it's a few years of advantage, perfect. But I think time has broken a lot of those out.
Yeah, but like I don't think the Pro Bowl. I think it's a step in the right direction, but I don't think it solves it. Because I mean, you could just like let the contract expire, I guess. You're not forced to ever pay more unless you extend beyond their current contract. But the point is, if you're on like a 4-year $1 million deal, that's not your rookie deal. You're riding that for 4 years, and there's no shot that you'll need to pay him more unless he happens to hold out from that like small portion of players that do that.
That's fair. All right. That's, I guess, the playoff preview. Any additional thoughts you guys have?
Well, if there's a stat correction, it throws a wrench in all the NFC stuff.
If there's a stat correction, then the Giants missed the playoffs.
I missed the playoffs.
That's the way it works. If there's a stat correction that the Giants get to go undefeated, they get kicked out of the playoffs. That's the rule I just came up with, and I think the commissioners are going to support it. What do you guys think?
I think that has to go to next season's rule changes. Can't institute it this year.
I think we'll get 31 out of 32 votes to say we're good immediately.
That's not true. That's not true. My brother wouldn't vote against me, and then there's a handful of teams that just wouldn't be online to vote.
No bias, majority rules.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys joining me for this one. We'll have some actual results to go through next week as we get through the playoffs, and some teams that are starting to look forward, but a narrowed selection of who's still in the hunt going forward from the 14 that we have here. So appreciate you guys joining, and I mean, it's getting fun. It's getting close, and it's getting exciting.
Good luck to your game, Mike, since Bill and I are just on the sidelines this week.
Hey, you both suck.